Easy. Time. 10 seconds. Easy. What's up, guys? So we are back at the lab with Kyle, and it's been about a month since I've been out here taking a look at the 3/4 trophy truck that he's building. So today we're basically going to walk around it and update you guys and talk about all the different things that he's done. Lots of welding, lots of alterations to the cage, a little bit of everything. So we got a lot to unpack here and go through. So we're going to take you guys through it. You've been working hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Lots of hard work, but it's going to pay off. It's looking sick. I mean, I don't even know what you call this thing anymore.
She gonna fly. She gonna fly.
Here we go. If you guys look back at the first 2 videos that we made on this thing, it's definitely looking a little bit different right now. Definitely the rear section has been changed quite a bit. Kyle's been doing a bunch of work on the cage. Why did you make all these changes to the cage? What was the idea behind this?
So if you guys go back and you maybe watch one of Nick's videos again, or you could look at the original drawings of the picture I took. This was a rock crawler, so it had a lot of extra cage to keep distance off of rocks, honestly, if you roll over or push against something. But all that extra chromoly tubing equates to a lot of weight, and we want this thing to fly, not necessarily roll over. At least that won't be its new purpose. So I needed to get the balance of the vehicle better, more strength. I'm just utilizing the components better that were existing on this vehicle.
So weight loss and strength.
Yeah.
Because this thing is no longer a rock crawler. This thing's going to be used for, speed, desert racing.
Yeah.
So, weight loss and strength is definitely the name of the game, and all these components and everything need to last.
Yeah.
It's a brutal environment out there when you're racing this thing.
And in particular, I mean, the geometry and what guided this design, some of the things you couldn't see in the drawing were like the things like the tire carrier, because it was a view from the back. But I was thinking about it because with the sport change going from rock crawling to Baja style, we need a spare tire. But people don't necessarily think about the fact that these tires weigh a lot. So when we have an extra, a 5th wheel on here, it adds a lot of weight. So I needed to get it balanced.
How much do you think it weighs?
This?
An extra wheel
between
and tire?
75 and 100 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say at least 100.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it hurts to lift.
It probably also adds a little bit of traction in the rear too, which is good.
Absolutely. And that's the reason for its location. And also being able to access all the components around it in a rollover. And then earlier I showed you, not you guys, but I showed Nick, basically the one-man operation it is for to change, a 100-pound tire by yourself. So, and then having a quick release mechanism for that so that we can take out the tire.
Boom.
And change that.
Easy.
So, yeah. And then putting it back up.
And then you move the fuel cell around a little bit. You created this nice cage around the fuel cell.
Correct. And then we have the rear light panel, which is going to house all the electronics for the rear. That's all been mounted up. Again, the whole fuel cell has actually been cleaned out and just rebuilt. So I'm trying to do all this at the same time. So this stuff's just basically getting sized up to be assembled at the moment. New brackets to hold the shock reservoirs. They're serviceable. So there's a screw in here that you just turn, and then this thing can slide out. And then this also bracket guides all the fuel lines, and it'll guide the electrical through the chassis and keep it up out of harm's way. This morning I finished the, I call them the rain trays, because it's not a roof. It's actually just made to direct the mud and the rain and everything to the back of the vehicle. As opposed to keeping everything watertight.
It looks really cool just in this raw finish. Kyle is going to paint everything, but man, I kind of like this this raw look.
Yeah, and then the unique thing is that like there is some curvature in them. So if you're able to get a video shot of it from the side, they're curved to the back. So the roof actually has a little bit of a bow in it.
Yeah, you can see that actually.
Yeah, and so I hand formed those, and I had to do that just with straight up like a hammer in order to get those right angles, but get it to arc ever so slightly so that the water just flows correctly. Because if you guys go back and watch the video of Nick and I going through the water in the big puddles, a lot of the store-bought side-by-sides and vehicles that go through puddles and mud, you'll notice really quick that they drain the water over your dash and your electrical components and display. I noticed it on Nick's, I noticed it on mine. I just have a CF Moto, but literally as our vehicles sit and the rain drains, it drains all over some valuable components. And so I'm trying to basically create a gutter system on this thing because we'll be going through a lot of, you know, submersions and such. So I don't want to prevent it from leaking. I just want to tell it where to leak to. And in turn, that'll create a longer life for our components because we're not trying to keep things watertight.
There's some different design on the rear cage here.
Yeah, it's all new. Like none of that exists.
Yeah, this is all brand new. I'll try to put a picture on screen of what it looked like.
That'd be cool.
When we saw it for the first time versus what it looks like now. Why don't you show us how you get this rear tire back on here? Okay. You're nice and warmed up now. You did it earlier. You made it look pretty easy.
It doesn't get easier.
Yeah. Or when you're racing, you're gonna have a ton of adrenaline going.
Yeah, and that's actually, you know, practicing these scenarios so that when Nick's in the car, I don't want him to get out as the engineer and the co-pilot. I want to be able to do these things on my own so Nick can stay in the race vehicle. So I was showing him earlier how the whole process goes to change the thing. But now I gotta show you. So here we go.
Get it. Easy.
Time.
Yeah. 10 seconds. Easy.
So that's it.
So you see this tire just slots right into this little rear section of the cage.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you can see this, but you see this little pipe, how it's bent back?
Yep. That holds it.
That holds the tire in place, basically.
Yep.
So really, really, really cool. Kyle designed this. We took you guys through that on the computer, and then obviously you can see he brought it to life here.
Yeah.
Which
that's awesome.
For somebody like me, it's hard to wrap my head around around that. But man, this thing looks cool. It looks like a race truck now.
Yeah.
You know, the rear section of this is just looking fast for sure. Oh, okay, so and then we've got some skid plates down here.
Yeah, I call it the fuel cage.
So we got the fuel cage skid plate here.
That used to be the lowest point on the vehicle, so it's susceptible to damage. So I figured we'd be doing wheelies in this thing, so we might as well be doing wheelies on something that can take it, not the fuel tank. So
maybe at some point doing
that's where I went with that. Well, the front end has been kind of reshaped, but it hasn't been built on. I've cut out all the old Jeep components, been reshaping and preparing for the new winch to go in. So that'll still get mounted in here. And once I figure out the actual shape of the winch and how the fair lead comes through, that's when I'll add these design details because I want the angles to match the purchase winch exactly. So I'll wait until that's in there. And then I've got some surprises for this little section here that's going to be super sick. So.
And didn't you say for the headlights you're doing some Polaris?
Yep. Yeah, I got those. Those are really cool.
Drew some inspiration from my my Razor on that.
Mm-hmm. Those still go right here. Yeah. 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 And then I mean. Like to see all this all hooked up again and like for it to just, yeah, it's all awesome. Did you watch the 4-links move when it's moving like that? This thing's just gonna get rowdy. Yes. Rowdy.
Kyle also has this V8 engine sitting over here in the corner and he's toying with the idea of possibly throwing this V8 into this thing. This is a V8 out of a Chevy truck.
Yeah, it was out of a 1955. That's not what the engine originated out of. I had it in a 1955 big window, but I put a 6.2 liter LS3 crate motor from Green Bay. Actually, the Chevy actually engineered that to my specs for that truck, so that was super cool. But we ordered that from them. They mailed it over here. I took this engine out because it just needed more work, and we just wanted to move ahead instead of, you know, fix it. So I went through, took it out. Here it sits. But I got to the day I bought that, or we bought that truck in Arizona. I was doing burnouts on this thing in the middle of a parking lot, which is so fucking funny.
So you know it runs and
it's all video of it, yeah. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to see that video. I want to see what it sounds like.
Oh God.
So yeah, he's thinking about throwing it in the trophy truck here. So that remains to be seen.
And I don't know, I mean, whatever you'd seen, but I had been cleaning everything always. But like the headers and stuff are all ready to be put back on this engine if we stick with this. It's just not as cool.
Yeah.
Still pretty.
Yeah, it's nice and clean.
But it's small. Look how small it is.
Small little guy, but you think it's
oh man,
sufficient power
that's
for
still
this
a big engine for a fucking truck that weighs less than 1,000 pounds. Right now, at least. With all the shit in it, it'll be more than that. But
yeah, I wonder what this thing is.
It's not going to be that much at all, man, because it's all on there now.
Yeah. Basically just some carbon fiber body panels that you got to put back on.
Yeah.
Or, well, you got to make them first, right?
Yeah. But like the seats and stuff, that's next. And doing the brackets. Yeah. Or at least figuring out what model seat so I can pull up the engineering drawings for the brackets. And then just continuing the panels and stuff. But the way I'm working is I start from the back third. I've won up to the front two, or the middle 2/3. And now I'm going to do the front third. So answering the question of the engine and stuff is super important, but you know. So
the rear's pretty much done. You said the cage and everything's ready for paint.
Yeah, yeah.
So when are you going to paint that? Next week or so?
No. So everything has to be fabricated. Every last tab, every last bracket has to be on there because it all gets painted at once. I don't go back and forth to do the paint. And so all the fabrication will be done. Everything that has to be custom made will be custom made at that point. I won't cut any of the carbon at that point because it's not a painted part, but they have to have a location. There has to be tabs for the carbon, or if it's an aluminum sheet. So little things like that, you know, there's no more new geometry added, you know, it's the brackets and smaller fabrication is what's left, but it still has to be done because if it has to be attached, then it needs to be attached now.
So that way you can paint it and it's already
exactly. And know what my final color scheme is, things like that, because it all matches in the end. So.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And we just wanted to update you guys. It's been probably about a month since I've been over here, and Kyle's been working hard, making lots of progress. So if you guys have any questions about this thing, hit us up down below in the comments, and we'll answer them the best that we can. But it's looking cool, man. I'm getting pretty excited to see this thing done and to drive it.
Yeah.
Rip on it.
Yee-yee.
Maybe putting the V8 in it. We'll see.
Maybe.
See what happens. But yeah, pretty dang cool. You got any last words?
Stay tuned. See it to the end. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be
cool. Stick around.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.